Hey everyone, excuse all the makeup with the comfortable clothes, but I just filmed a video which you're going to see next week. It's another vocal cover. This week I'm going to take a break and kind of document a rough time I went through that I really wish I could have seen someone else's testimony to. Just like this. So, starting the trend. I don't really know how far to go back, but I guess we'll just start with college. First year of college, I had no idea kind of where I fit in. I went to a smaller college. It wasn't huge, so you kind of had to look around to get involved, and you wouldn't just see every single type of person all the time walking around on campus. So I went ahead and my sophomore year I joined the rugby team, and I think every rugby team I've ever experienced, you can take every kind of woman you know and put her on a team, and that's what a rugby team is. There's so many different types of people, and I love it, and we're all committed to a similar goal. And honestly, at my college, they became my family. Like, I still talk to so many of them. I love catching up with them, and I know they have my back. So it was just such a great introduction to being a part of a really strong community that I decided once I graduated, I would continue that. So I went ahead and joined a women's team after I graduated, and I ended up graduating early, so I joined in the spring, and it was awesome. What happened, there was like a small transition between playing in college and playing with this women's team where I completely switched the type of position I had played. So I went from playing mostly in the back line, anywhere in the back line really except for fly half and inside center, so anywhere out there, and I switched to hook. So I was a hooker, haha, but I still can't say it seriously. So I started playing hooker, and I loved it. It was so much better for me. I was never someone who could really kick it up over long distances. My maximum sprinting speed would last for about 20 meters if I'm being generous. And I just, I'm short, I'm 4'10". I could really get low in rucks, and it was just kind of fun playing in that close contact kind of area versus being out in the backs and, kind of anticipating more. It was easier for me to kind of just go and not overthink playing hook. But, so I just loved it. I felt like I was so much better at it than I was in the back line, and I finally found my position. So I played through the spring season with the women's team, and then we started 7 season, and I think the second tournament we went to, we decided that I would be lifted, so, our scrummy could kind of pass it to me, I pass it down to her, she passes it out to the back line. And I had been lifted before, a few times. I had noticed when I played for a women's team over the summer, like a year prior to that, while I was still in college, that I was dropped a little bit. I think people, I'm 4'10", like I said earlier, but people expected me to be taller. So sometimes I'd get dropped on my ass and be like, oh, well, that's fine. I'm here. I'm getting up. We're fine. But I don't really know what happened. This is like my 9th season playing, rugby, so I was up in the air. I don't even remember who had the ball. I went ahead and started coming down, and my feet were together, but my right foot was a little bit lower than my left foot, and it kind of just landed like this. Like, when you jump down, that's how you land. And I heard a crunch, crunch, possibly more than 2 crunches. I don't like to remember it. I hit the ground, and I just knew I was not getting up. So, it's still so emotional to think about. But, so I sat there for a second and I was like, oh my God, please just be a sprain. Like, you know, don't let this be, like, 7 season, don't let it be the end of my career for a little bit. And I was in so much pain. I crawled off the field on my hands and knees, and just kind of laid there for a second. And the tournament did not have a medic, but fortunately one of my teammates, one of the heroes of this story, Lynn, she came over and she knew what to do. She took my shoe off to analyze any swelling or anything, and I really didn't have that much swelling, which was crazy because I was in so much pain. But I think it's like I eat fairly well and my body deals with inflammation fairly well. So I took my shoe off. It hurt. Nothing looked wrong. She and another teammate carried me over to like where all our stuff was. I grabbed some of my stuff and she started rubbing ice on my foot, and I was in so much pain I really thought I was gonna like throw up or pass out. And so she suggested to one of my really close friends' parents that I be driven to the hospital. So they were on board and they drove me to the hospital. I'm so thankful because we didn't need an ambulance. So went ahead and went to the hospital. I was in so much pain on the ride there that I was making all kinds of foul noises, and like I'm just so sorry still for the kind of noises that were coming out of my body, because it was just kind of like a feeling like I really thought I was gonna vomit. So basically went to the emergency room. They got me on some fairly heavy drugs, and then they took my x-ray, and I was like, okay, here we go, like this is gonna be the defining moment. And I asked the x-ray tech, I'm like, I know you can't say anything, but is it broken? And he's like, you definitely have 2 breaks. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, so you can confidently say that, which makes me really nervous. And so I go ahead and I take a look at the x-ray, and I have a picture of it on my phone. I'm gonna try my best to like show you. You can see that there's definitely 2 breaks, but what you might not be able to see, which I'm gonna try and zoom in on, is there's a small like chip fracture here, and then at the base of the 4th toe it's kind of split like a V. Really ugly. So anyways, essentially I had like 6+ fractures in my foot, and I was like, okay, it's broken. I've had broken bones before. Just please no surgery. Like that's, you know, they were like, we recommend you contact an orthopedic surgeon. So I was like, okay. But, you know, that doesn't mean 100% that I'm gonna, you know, have to get surgery. Like, we're okay. Still have my hopes up. And that night, you know, my family just basically drove me back to their house. That night I was sleeping on the couch. Yeah, I was on crutches, obviously couldn't walk. And every time I had a dream, I don't think anyone realizes how much they like twitch in their sleep, but every time I had a dream, my toes would twitch, and you know, they like weren't connected to my body, so it hurt every time, and I got probably about an hour of sleep at most that night. So I texted Lynn in the morning and I was like, Lynn, I couldn't sleep last night. My toes really hurt. Like, do you have any recommendations on how to just sleep through the night, but, you know, while I wait to hear back from an orthopedic surgeon? And bless Lynn, I might cry just because whenever someone cares a little bit more than extra, like, it baffles me in the way that it's just like, oh, I love you. So Lynn contacted a surgeon she, I guess, had interned with. You know, this was a while ago. I'm sorry, I don't remember everything. But she contacted a surgeon who she has like worked with, and he looked at the picture of the x-ray I sent and said, have her in my office tomorrow at 8 a.m. So injury happened Saturday. I texted her Sunday, and I would go see the surgeon at 8 a.m. She told me if things were really bad, I would have to have an emergency surgery, and I should be prepared for it, but she doesn't like think I should expect it. So I go in, 8 a.m. Monday, ready to see what happens. My foot definitely swelled a lot more once they took the splint off. And the first thing they said was, so, surgery. And I was like, bruh. So it just got really real at that moment, and like, hearing about just kind of what was going to happen was just really hard. Especially because, you know, it was a really quick meeting, quick analysis, and basically Lynn, you know, directed me and my mom, who drove me to the appointment. She directed us to the hospital. She sat with us for like a couple hours and was just like such amazing support, sent out an email to the team about what was going on. And I waited in the hospital until like, I don't know, 6, 7 p.m. So it was a long day, but I got that surgery that day. It was, I got 2 plates, 9 screws, and 2 pins. I have a picture of that too. And the best thing about this surgeon is he's just like very progressive, and he understands working on athletes. You know, it's not enough for him to just repair you. He wants you to be able to move again. So he took, while I was out, he took bone marrow from my hip, extracted the stem cells, and injected them into my foot. It was awesome. You know, I can't tell you whether or not I noticed a difference because I have nothing to compare it to. Thank you. So this is what my foot looks like now. I mean, the bones are healed, obviously, but this is what hardware I'm working with. So I thought that would be the hardest part, but really there's so much that comes after you get your surgery. Like, I not only played rugby, I worked out a lot. I powerlifted. I did like plyometric workouts. I did a lot on my own. I walked to work. You know, I just did so many things that like I was a very functional person, and I wasn't able to walk for like, I think 6 to 8 weeks. I can't quite remember. And, you know, I was back with my family because I could not, you know, I live in an apartment. There's just no way, like I couldn't drive. It was my right foot. So I was back with my family, couldn't do anything, lacking contact sport, lacking a physical outlet was so hard for me. There were times where I would just tell my family, I'd be like, I can't get out of the room, but I'm telling you right now, I'm so frustrated. Like, I'm so sorry, but I can't talk to you right now. Which like seems kind of immature, but you know, what can you do? I was really pissed about everything, about how everything went down. You know, I don't want to sound petty, and like I don't want to go into how I feel about the situation that happened, because the truth is I was not a third-party person. I experienced, you know, what I experienced, and the people who lifted me in the line out experienced what they experienced. And like, I understand mistakes happen, and like when people own up to them and stuff, I'm totally okay with that. You know, it's rugby. It's not, you know, it's not the safest sport. But I just didn't think it would happen to me because I worked so hard to kind of prevent it from happening. So I was just really pissed about that. I was like, oh, fate, you know, you foul beast. I just never expected to kind of be incapable of doing anything anymore. Like, I went from not having any injuries to a terrible one. Like, to the point where my surgeon would look at the x-ray and be like, oh, that's bad. And I was like, oh, thanks. Thanks for the encouragement. But, see, I was pissed. I was sitting on my butt, working from home. Thank goodness I could work from home, but it was really hard because I was sitting in this chair on my laptop, and then, you know, once 5:15 hit, close my laptop, put it down, still sit in the chair, can't go do anything, you know. And then trying to get my range of motion back was really, really hard. My stitches were leaking. I did start going to physical therapy probably about 4 to 5 weeks after the surgery. And it was basic stuff. I wish I had clips, but it was seriously me like picking up marbles with my toes and putting them in, you know, a little cup. And then, you know, basic balance stuff even when I was non-weight bearing. So that was pretty much the only way I could kind of get out that aggression that I was feeling. And hearing from people was really nice. I think sometimes people are like, oh, well, you know, they probably hear from everyone. Like, it doesn't matter if they hear from me, but it really does. Like, I had people write me letters. I had people send me little gifts. People coming to visit. It's all huge because when you aren't doing anything and you have no way to kind of occupy yourself, all of those small efforts seem so much bigger to the person on the receiving end. So that's one thing I can really say to anyone watching this who's never experienced an injury before. So I don't think I mentioned this, but my official like diagnosis was, you know, displaced fractures in my metatarsals and a Lisfranc fracture, I believe. So I have fractures through the joint as well. So with Lisfranc injuries, they are fairly rare. When I was looking around, I saw people with blogs talking about their Lisfranc recoveries, but I never saw any video testimonies, and I could only read so much because there was only so much information out there. So I did kind of feel even more isolated. It was all a really difficult situation, and fortunately, I got to move back to my apartment. Injury was in June, mid-June. I got to move back to my apartment, I believe, in September. And then, I'm still here, walking to work, no crutches, no nothing. Right now, a couple weeks ago, I finally started running again with no pain. My muscles are weak. They're so weak. But I'm slowly starting to get there again. I think the biggest things I can say that I didn't believe when people would tell me them was, you're going to get it back. It just takes time. There's also a distinguishing factor between pain and discomfort. And people would always be like, what's your pain level? And I think, at first, when you don't experience any pain for a really long period of time, you're like, compared to what? Like, it hurts. I don't know, just fix it. And then over time, you learn about yourself, like, what is painful, what's uncomfortable. Hey guys, so my camera died on me, and I think it was just its way of telling me to wrap it up, which I totally agree with. So I just want to extend a giant thank you to everyone who helped me out, even in the slightest. Obviously family members who cooked me food, helped me do my chores, bathed me. We're not really going to go there. People who just extended their friendship and their love and truly made an effort. I appreciate it so much because it really did help me get through this whole process so much easier. Also, now I'm going to talk about kind of just a summary of what my physical recovery was like, and then we're going to go on to what's next. So, physically, things are going pretty well. It's been a long time, mid-February, I believe it'll be about 8 months since my surgery. And, you know, I would have expected to be back fully, but obviously that's not happening. I'm running though. I want to be sprinting. I am jumping a little bit. It's just I still feel unsteady and I don't have a full range of motion yet. So right now I will show you the foot. Okay, also, side note, my toenails, I painted them a long time ago to try and feel better, and I'd never repainted them. So they're ugly. But it's the winter, so if you really have a problem with that, then you're the problem. Okay, so here's my foot. This is where I got the T-plate put in. You can kind of feel it, it's pretty gnarly. And then here's where I have my other plate put in. I have 2 pins right here. There's, you know, no swelling in my ankle or anything. Obviously, that would be really bad if there was. If I curl my toes, there's pretty much full motion. If you can tell, the 3rd metatarsal is the one that kind of prevents everything from moving a little further. Also, if I go to like raise my toes up, I really struggle with that. Like my big toe obviously moves way more than every other toe. And on my other foot, I can move everything up really high. So it's a very large difference. Wow, sorry about that lens cap. But yeah, it's a very large difference and it's just pretty upsetting. So that kind of leads me to my next point. I met with my surgeon, I think, a couple weeks ago, and we've decided, since I just started running at that point, to kind of see how I progress, but ultimately I'm thinking about getting the hardware removed because I think it is inhibiting my ability to kind of move up like this. So I think we're going to get the hardware removed in the fall. Since I didn't really have a summer last year, I really would like a summer to kind of enjoy myself. And then if I need to kind of be cooped up in the fall, it'll be more expected and the recovery will be less. So I think it might be a good idea. As far as emotional things I've learned through this process, I've really learned just how much patience is needed when it comes to an injury, and just how much support I never knew that I needed, and I now know that I should give other people. It's just huge, you know. People going through a tough time may not seem like they need the support, but they really do. Like, you may say, oh no, I don't, but if you get the support, it is so nice, you know. It's just so nice to have someone there for you and to kind of, you know, help you think about anything else. I also realized that I have a lot of other interests that I think come before my rugby career. I am interested in being able to walk to work. Sounds so dumb, but it's true. And actually, this injury helped me get more into music, helped me start this channel. So I am very thankful that I kind of took a positive spin on that. I got a guitar, you know, I need things to occupy my time because I'm not going back to rugby. Oh, saying that out loud makes me want to cry because I love it so much. I love the people, but I can't justify doing that to myself again, you know. And I know the exact same thing wouldn't happen, but you never know what can happen is really my point. And, you know, had the circumstances been different, I couldn't really tell you. But I already feel like I got my family when it came to college. And yeah, I felt like I was kind of getting there with the women's team, but it was kind of harder to really, you know, feel like a part of the group. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's just kind of the truth of it, and I didn't really appreciate the way the situation was handled by some people. That's all I'm going to say about it. It really doesn't matter. The people who I really enjoyed from the team, I still talk to. So I see nothing wrong with, you know, kind of the way I'm handling that. My decision to stop playing does hurt because I do love that kind of like camaraderie and contact, but I can't justify going back as much as I would love to. So what's next? I think I'm gonna actually move on to jiu-jitsu or martial arts. Before rugby, I did about 7 years of martial arts, and I was pretty good at it. Like, I think I was better at that than I was at rugby. Not saying that I just sucked or anything at rugby, it's just, it was more intuitive to me. So I think I might give jiu-jitsu a try. We'll see. I need to wait for my foot to heal a little bit more. It still kind of hurts, and I would not be comfortable with people like laying on it right now. So we'll see, but I think that's in my future. I will miss the team, though, like, you know, just being part of a team, kind of learning from others and having other people support you. But I have really close friends now, so it's not something like in college that I felt like I really needed. It was just kind of a plus here. So that's pretty much how I'm moving forward. You know, injuries are so hard, and along with singing, I'm gonna kind of start putting more videos on here of other people's testimonies with injuries. So, you know, if you enjoyed this video, keep your eyes peeled, subscribe, like, so that you'll be more in the know of any other future videos that'll happen with probably a ton of other teammates that I've had, because rugby is just kind of the environment where injuries happen. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening. You know, if you have any questions about my progress or any specific questions about how I dealt with my injury, let me know in the comments and I can post a follow-up video. I definitely wasted way too much of your time with this one. So, bye guys, see you next time. Thanks again for watching.